Yes, it's another episode of the Donnie Anthony Show. Hey, it's playoff time. We're not in it, but hey, that's right. That's what we're here to talk about today is how do we get back to it? How do we get back to the NFL playoffs? I'm your host, Anthony Fan. As always, my main man, my brother in Christ. Donnie Bryant, along with me, as always. Hey, he's repping the man, the number one man, QB1, Cam Newton. Looks good on you, sir.
Appreciate it, man. Got to put on for the guy.
Yeah, and the last time I think we were in the yes, the last time we were in the playoffs, he was the quarterback. So hey, how do we get back to that? We're here to talk about it today. So me and Donnie talked about it, and we said, hey, how is it? How can we? What can we talk about, and what can we say to get back to the playoffs? And we came up with four. There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of things we got to do, and we are in a somewhat of a rebuild. I guess you could say that's what Matt Rule says: a 7-year plan, 10-year plan. He's about to have no
Jay-Z's
plan.
plan.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he went up to the podium and said, it's all part of God's plan. All right, I had a plan, but it's all put in God's hands. You know, not knocking that. I'm just saying, he's coming. He's just running out of excuses, and he's about to run up out of the NFL. So we'll see. We'll see.
I hope. Just
Yeah.
kidding. Just kidding.
So we had not really. So we came up with the four major things that what it's going to take to come back to the playoffs. So here you go. First off, we're going to sign a veteran quarterback. Uh, there's a couple guys out there that we could do. There's a guy out there we could bring back. Hint, his jersey is in this video. Two, sign key defensive pieces. We've talked about that in the past. There's another video about free agents that you can go back and watch on our YouTube channel, the Donnie Anthony Show, which you're watching now. And we talk about those key defensive pieces out there. Three, draft offensive linemen. The draft is coming up. We had a very bad problem. We're probably, if not the worst, second to last worst of the worst offensive linemen in the entire league. Let's draft some of them young boys come out of college. There's a lot of them out there. And we'll talk about a little bit today. We'll go more in depth in the future. This is just key points today. And lastly, find an offensive coordinator. Back when we were talking about this, we hadn't found an offensive coordinator quite yet. We have since the building and the planning of this show. We're going to talk about it. Here we go. Very first thing, sign veteran quarterbacks. Now, Donnie, I said, well, who do we sign, Donnie? And Donnie said, hey, I got three guys. Marcus Mariota, Cam Newton, Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell Trubisky, hometown guy. For those who don't know, I'm in the TV business on the side. That's my career. Also, I want to address, we took a little bit off. Donnie just started a brand new career. What he went to school for, he got his job for it. So, hey, hats off to you, Donnie, for
Appreciate it.
starting
Blessings.
your brand new career here. So,
All glory be to God, man. All glory
first
be to
week was this,
God.
yeah, his first week was
Came
this
here.
past week.
AirPods.
Yeah,
Air cancellation. Where at?
the noise cancellation. Yeah,
The
uh,
noise cancellation.
yeah.
Can't talk.
So yeah, I said, well, take a week off and focus on your new job, man. So hey,
God
congratulations
is
again,
good, man. I
man. So
appreciate it.
good stuff. But my career on the side, I'm in the TV business, and I used to work at Carolina. I was there when Trubisky was the quarterback, so I've actually seen him play in person. And hey, the North Carolina boy coming home could happen. Marcus Mariota, Tennessee Titan guy, back up there in Oakland now. Excuse me, Las Vegas. I'll never get used to that. Um, and hey, the hometown boy, the hero of the Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton, coming back. So hey, talk about it a little bit, Donnie. Why these three guys? What makes you think that these guys are it? Or explain to the people.
Yeah, so I started with Marcus Mariota. I like Marcus Mariota as a player. He's one of those dual threat guys. Coming out of Oregon, he was supposed to be one of the most electrifying players from college to the NFL, kind of like a Michael Vick type player. He's a taller guy. He's very fast, and he can make some throws. I think he just things never really got clicking out there in Tennessee. At the time, he wasn't really equipped with the amount of receivers needed to have a successful offense or just to be a successful quarterback. Like we've talked before, there's some guys that could do it without the weapons, and there's some guys who may need one or two guys. But when Marcus went to Las Vegas, he obviously Derek Carr is the guy there, right? But when I
Yeah.
watch Marcus Mariota play, I see that he still has the capability to make some plays, and he showed some flashes of why he was one of those top two picks in the league. So I think in our situation, I don't like I've been pretty vocal before. I don't think that this year is the year to draft a quarterback. There's only one or two guys that really kind of fit that whole scenario where I'm like, okay, I'll take this guy. But I think Marcus Mariota brings a veteran presence. He's been through a lot as he was thrown to the wolves early on in his career, which is good for the progression of a quarterback. You're seeing it with Joe Burrow. You're seeing it with Patrick Mahomes. They're starting really, really young. They didn't really have to sit behind anybody. He's one of those guys that just started right away. He's never really been a horrible quarterback. I think Marcus Mariota still has a lot left to prove, and he still has a lot left in his tank. So I think us going to go get an experienced veteran quarterback could go, compete with Sam Darnold, because the reality is Sam Darnold's going to be here next year, whether we like it or not, because that's a $15 million salary that we agreed to pay prior to, starting the season. So I think Marcus Mariota, he'd be a very good fit. He's a good, from what I've heard from, I watch Busted with the Boys with Taylor Lewan, Will Compton. They always speak highly of Marcus Mariota. He's a good leader. He's very humble. He's easy to be he's easy to be followed by his teammates. He's a good leader. And like I said, Tyler made a really good point. The caller last time we went live made a really good point. He and I saw the same thing. I think Marcus Mariota can, like I said, still make some throws. Actually, Anthony, I think you used to speak highly of Marcus Mariota prior to him in the league.
Yeah, I always liked him, even in Tennessee,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
So, with that being said, obviously statistically, it's not things aren't going to pop out to you, but he's shown some flashes of how he could be. They went to the playoffs with Marcus Mariota. He's no bomb by any means, right?
yeah.
It's just hard to live up to that number 2 overall pick type hype, because Jared Goff, you see, it's kind of like the same situation with he and Jared Goff, right? They're talented guys, but they're limited in some way. And I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on Marcus Mariota's way. I don't think he's a scheme only guy. I just don't know what hasn't pushed him to the top. But you can still win football games with him.
Yeah.
He can still be successful, and he can still put your team in a situation to make the playoffs and to win games. So that's why I like Marcus Mariota. Like I said, explosive, young, still, yeah.
And then the local guy coming home, Mitchell Trubisky, a former North Carolina Tar Heel. What could he bring to the table for us if we sign him as a backup?
Yeah, Mitch, he had a really good year in 17. It was either 17 season or 18 season. I had to go back and look. He made the Pro Bowl. I've always been pretty critical of Mitch because he's a North Carolina Tar Heel. It's one of my favorite college teams. So he's a representation of what the Carolinas are. So when him getting drafted as high as he did, I had a lot of those expectations. And like I just said earlier, there's a lot of young quarterbacks who walk into situations where it's not best for them. He landed in a situation in Chicago. They've been in quarterback purgatory for a while. At one point it was Jay Cutler. That didn't work out. Then it was Josh McCown. That didn't work out. So they fiddled for 1 or 2 years at quarterback. They went out and got Nick Foles. Excuse me, that didn't really work out. They got Dalton now, and now they got Fields. So that hasn't been a really good organization as of recent with quarterbacks. And so I think he got put into a bad situation. At the end of the day, you still got to go. You still got to prove yourself. Like I said, he made a Pro Bowl. He made a Pro Bowl regardless of what people said or, how his play may not have translated how he was picked. He still made a Pro Bowl, which is good. I like Mitch because kind of like Marcus, they kind of have the same skill sets. They can throw the ball and they can make some tough throws. And they're also dual threat guys. They can both move really well. That's something we need with our offensive line being at the state it is, right?
Yeah.
We need a quarterback that's going to be able to move around and make some throws on the run, make some throws under duress, and just kind of have the arm talent, the arm strength to make those tougher throws while under duress. So Mitch Trubisky is another one of those guys. He's a younger guy. He also took his team to the playoffs one of those years while he was in Chicago. He's proven himself. He's been through some ups and downs, but like I said, the situation he walked into was a tough one to succeed in. Um, but I do like what I see out of Mitch as a guy that we can bring in. I don't know long term. That's why we just bring him in on a 1 year prove it deal.
Yeah,
None of these, and he played really good in the preseason for the Bills. I mean, I know it's the preseason, but those are good quality reps to be getting. So like I said, he's still one of those younger guys that can still put us in position to win if put in the right situation. And I think ideally our offensive line isn't in the right state, but we still have the weapons that a quarterback of those two caliber, Marcus Mariota and Trubisky, to be successful, and I think good enough to make the playoffs, especially with the defense
yeah,
being young and as good as they are.
for sure. Yeah, and if you look on every team on the roster, they all have local guys, local colleges,
Mm-hmm.
LA, some UCLA people and stuff like that. It just flows. You ever notice that every local guy, local college for the pro team, uh, I guess it's more comfortable with being home and just, imagine if you play for the Panthers or anyone in the world play for their favorite local
Exactly.
team in the pros, just how much better and more, you would, harder you would play just for representing, your city if you look at it that way. So yeah,
It's like golf
Trubisky,
in Los Angeles.
there you go. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. And then, last and certainly not least, the man bringing back Cam. Um, there's a lot of controversy on that because a lot of people look at him as, well, he needs to start. If he's that kind of guy, let's start. Well, not all the time. Yeah, sure, I would want him as a starter. Put in a weird spot, judged unfairly. But even as mature as he is, even as the backup role that he was playing towards the end of the season, he was on the sideline, hyping even Sam Darnold up and just loved kind of being there, I guess. So
Right.
yeah, Cam Newton bringing him back. Your thoughts?
I mean, well, we all know that's going to be a fan favorite move, a
Yeah,
move that I would love, a move that you would love, and many Carolina Panthers fans would love.
sure.
So I think bringing him back. I mean, he's even came out and said he'd be open to be a backup.
Yeah,
That's what a team needed out of him. But he wants to walk into the right situation. Unfortunately, I don't know how things have kind of turned out that he may come back to us. He loves the Carolinas. This is the city. This is his city. I mean, whether you
yeah,
like it or not. I mean, he basically owns Carolina. I mean, the fans go crazy anytime he's
yeah,
around. He, Luke, and Thomas Davis and Steve Smith. Those kind of guys have that kind of power to
yeah,
where they Steve and Thomas and Luke, if they all wanted to come back right now at their age and they're probably not in football shape, they're in good shape, but now guarantee you if we sign them, everybody would go crazy. I mean, it's
oh yeah,
just so. But no, it to me it would be a fan favorite move. It would be a move that I love. Like I said, you love. And I think at this point where Cam's at mentally and as a man, I mean he's been through it all in the NFL. I mean he's been one of the most criticized quarterbacks, and he's been one of those guys that have been the face of the league before, so he knows what the league entails for him. And he's not scared of criticism anymore. I mean
yeah,
he answers the tougher questions. But all that being said, Cam still shows that he can play at a solid level. Like I said, I always say it's not going to be 2015 Cam because that's just not what we are as a team. And I don't think he's the same player as he was then, just because he's a little older now. He's coming off
mm,
some tougher injuries. But he's shown some flashes this season that he can still play at a level in which we can win football games. Whether that be a backup or be a starter, that's for Matt Rule and company. I would like to see him as a starter with a full off season, a full training camp, full OTAs, full preseason with this
yeah,
team and this offensive scheme. Because as you know, I mean, we just got a new guy at offensive coordinator, Ben McAdoo. So, like I said, Cam's a leader. He's a good team. He's a good team player. He's very supportive of his teammates. I think the morale of the entire team in the city changed when he came. I just think it would be good, and I do think that we can win games with Cam at quarterback.
yeah,
So with that being said, he still showed some good signs with his feet and made some good throws this season. And contrary to what people think about his picks that he threw this year, I think he's been a lot smarter with the football. It just we just hadn't been able to put it together. We're still a very young team, but those are three guys I like. Obviously, Cam being number one, Mariota two, and then Trubisky three. But we'll see. But I think those three guys, you can't go wrong with signing those guys.
yeah,
And not to get off track, but I've heard rumblings of us potentially bringing in Derek Carr.
mm,
I think personally, that'd be a pretty good pickup. I think you and I talked about it yesterday. Derek Carr is a good game manager. Um, he can put his team in positions and situations where they can win. He makes very very good throws. Derek Carr can put just about any ball in the money. Um, he's been pretty criticized of who he is as a quarterback and his mentality. People say he's soft, all that, but I still think Derek Carr is a solid enough player that can contribute and help us, maybe make that playoff push next year. I think so. So I forgot to tell you, I was going to add him onto the list today, but that's just been rumblings that I've heard recently. Nothing's been
Yeah,
confirmed, but it's potentially a move, and something I would approve for sure. Derek Carr, he's a solid quarterback. So
yeah,
those are the
for
guys for
sure,
me.
for sure. Yeah, we haven't had a nice, solid veteran backup quarterback, I believe, since Derek Anderson. And when we had him, those are some of our best
Yeah,
years in Carolina Panthers franchise
and we
history.
felt comfortable too when Cam went
Yeah,
down.
yeah. When he came in, actually, the Atlanta game that you and I were at in 2015, um, where they won, 40 some odd points of like nothing.
Yeah,
So,
we blew him
and
out.
yeah, the year we went to the Super Bowl, me and you just happened to both be at that game. We didn't go together, but we just happened to both be there. And yeah, Cam went down with a thumb injury or something like that, but he came back in later. But Derek stepped in, threw a touchdown to Greg Olson,
Yeah,
and looked great. So, and another point I want to bring up: the importance of signing a veteran quarterback is everyone learns, not other quarterbacks, not just line. Everybody learns. Receivers learn. I remember reading an interview years ago about Steve Smith, and they asked him, "Who's the best, quarterback you've played with? That you learned the most from?" And he said Cam. He said, no, not Cam. Jake Delhomme? No, wasn't Jake Delhomme. Joe Flacco? No. Vinny Testaverde. And Vinny Testaverde, he signed a 1 year deal with us back in our really bad struggling years. And those times are upon us still. But, or again. And he said, why? And they said, why? And he said, he knew so much of the game. He was such a veteran. Maybe
yeah,
not. At one point, he was, great. And he's, when in his older age, he wasn't, but he was just kind of an emergency signed quarterback. And I think that was the same year I think he even got hurt when we signed St. Pierre, guy. It was
yeah,
horrible times. But I remember him saying, he was like, man, he even taught me like how to run my route better for him so he can throw over a certain shoulder or a certain way, that kind of thing. So everyone learns with veteran quarterbacks, one
yeah.
way or another, whether they're good or bad. But yes, to your point,
I
that I
wanted to
think that is important.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you. You see it in history. You see it with Nick Foles. He came
Yeah,
in to win the Super Bowl. He was another one of those quarterbacks that had kind of seen it all. He went to the Rams and didn't quite do well, and he went to the Chiefs, didn't quite do well. Damn near contemplated retirement. And came back and won the Super Bowl as a backup. Josh McCown was a serviceable backup for a little while. I think he played in the wild card game for the Eagles.
hmm
So just having a good veteran, and to me, it has to be a veteran because every starting quarterback needs a guy, on the sideline, to not even a quarterback coach, just a proven veteran quarterback who's taken those reps, who's
yeah,
made those mistakes, and who's been successful to be one of the first people on the sideline to be like, hey, what'd you see there? Hey, well, hey, based on my experience, this is what I did. And if I were you, I wouldn't make that throw because we got this such next play.
yeah.
So yeah, to me, it has to be a veteran that we bring in because Sam Darnold or who knows who we bring in. We could draft, I don't know, but for me, it's got to be a veteran guy.
Yeah, not PJ Walker. Yeah,
No, 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 no,
just
no,
ain't gonna get
no,
it done.
absolutely no, no.
So there we go. Yeah, veteran quarterbacks, bring them in to do everyone on offense better where we struggle the most. So, and next thing, signing some defensive pieces. Like I say, if you go back to our YouTube channel in the past, we talked about the free agencies that we could sign this offseason, some of the free agents, and a lot of those were the defensive guys. Do you remember? I know you don't have the list in front of you, Donnie. You remember any of those key guys
Yeah,
in your list there?
yeah. There's a few guys that stick out to me. Obviously, we talk about our struggle to play well against the run. So I think the veteran guy, I think his last name's is Fatasku or something. It's from the Jets. He's a
Yeah.
defensive tackle for the Jets. Younger guy, um, proven guy. I know we touched about it in the last video. I do like what he brings. He's a good run stuff and defensive tackle, something we need. He's younger too, so we can have him for for years to come. I think our pass rush isn't the problem. I think it's our ability to stop the run. So I think
Yep.
getting a gentleman from the Jets. I don't want to mispronounce his name because it's disrespectful. It could be offensive. You pronounce someone's name, mispronounce someone's name. So, D tackle from the Jets plays alongside Quentin Williams. That may help him a little bit because Quentin Williams is such a good player. But at the same time, you got to produce. Derek Brown, he didn't quite produce this year, and some may argue that he needs a buddy. Scarlett Two Lake and one short. Hey, they were the buddies, and then years prior you had Chris Jenkins and those he was paired up with other good D tackles.
Briston Buckner.
I'm at yes. Sorry, I was gonna say Buckner. Yeah, I was in early elementary when that happened. So that's more year round. You were older, which is nothing's wrong with that. I'm not calling you out, nothing like that.
No, I experienced the upset before you did, so I've experienced it twice.
Exactly. So
heartbreaking. That was even more heartbreaking to me. That first one. I know you say it's yours because it was a shame. You were just in the worst of circumstances, and they were 15-1. They were the favorites.
That one meant so much to me.
Yeah, I get it. That first one was a heartbreaker too. So, but either way, we're 0-2 Super Bowl, and it kills me. We'll be back.
Yeah,
we'll be back.
Well, we will. It probably a lot quicker than a lot of people anticipate. Who knows? I hope so. We don't know. So this offseason is gonna show a lot.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next point. Filling in the linebacker position with Devondre Campbell. I would like to bring him in. Or Johnson from the Broncos. Devondre Campbell might be a little bit harder to bring in due to him having an all-pro year. I mean, they did lose yesterday, but I mean that guy was that. When I watch his highlights and I watch him on film, I'm like, man, can you imagine him right beside Shaq Thompson? Like, that would be crazy. So that's something that I think we need to emphasize this season, bringing in another linebacker. Of course, D tackle first for me. Because we gotta stop the run. You cannot win games if you just let a team run all over you. So I want to make that everyone listen. That's the first priority, D tackle. Then of course the linebackers. Like I said, Devondre Campbell. I've really liked what I've seen from him in the season. I mean, being a first team All Pro, you got to be on top of your game to be first team All Pro amongst the NFL's great to that position. And so if we could possibly get that worked out with them, I would love that. If not, we can go a little cheaper and go get Johnson from the Broncos. I mean, he's coming off an injury, but I mean he came into the league late, like I said. I touched on it, the episode prior. If you guys want to tune in and watch, if you're interested and forget to see what we can do to improve, touched on these two guys. But yeah, Johnson, sideline to sideline, plays explosively, good tackler, good in pass coverage, veteran guy. That's what we need. There's nothing wrong with going younger. There's nothing wrong with that. That's because at the end of the day, football is always going to be a young man's game. Contrary to the Tom Brady thing. That's not going to happen a lot, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these players are starting to become successful a lot quicker than others. So
for sure.
So, but yeah, bringing in a veteran like him or Devondre Campbell would be really good. And then of course, I said something about safety. Maybe Marcus May. I like what Marcus May brings at safety. He's coming off an Achilles tear, which is something to be worried about, but that's why you can bring him in on a 1-year cheaper deal to kind of prove they can still play at the level he was playing at. Like I said, he's playing at a great level, very, very good against the run. Is able to get down in the box. Is also can play both free and strong safety. So if we intend on bringing Jeremy Chin down to play linebacker, I mean he can take over, Chin's position. Sure. So the flexibility there and his ability to cover and play good against the run, just being a good tackler. And Jordan Whitehead, almost identical to what I said about Marcus May. Jordan Whitehead's a strong safety for the Buccaneers. You'll see him play today, or actually see him. Well, the video is coming out today, but most of you guys will probably watch it tomorrow.
Well, you'll see him. You'll see him play in the playoffs.
Exactly. So
probably past today. We'll see.
But so yeah. And those are just the defensive guys that stick out to me.
for
just
sure.
quick plug in guys that can make an immediate impact and help us against the run. We need
Yeah.
to stop the run.
Every position on our defense is filled. They just need, like you said, a buddy. Defensive tackle, we got Derrick Brown, needs a buddy. Safety, we got Chin, he needs a buddy on the other side.
Absolutely.
And Shaq Thompson, we got him at linebacker. Please get rid of Carter. And
Please.
we
You
just
can't
don't.
do it anymore.
We're just not a big fan of Carter. And so Shaq needs a buddy, just like Luke and Thomas back in the day, Chris and Brinson Buckner. Yeah, we had Trey Boston, Mike Minter and Deion Grant years
Absolutely.
ago. So yeah, it takes more than one. It takes more
And
than one.
bring back Stephon Gilmore. Please bring him back.
Oh yes,
Please
yeah,
bring him back.
yeah.
I did not forget about that. Please bring back Stephon Gilmore.
For sure,
So,
for sure.
so
But all
those
these,
are defensive guys. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I'd be happy for any of them. So, but you want a deeper dive? Go back to our YouTube channel and look at the free agent video. And Donnie goes into a lot deeper dive into these defensive guys and why we should bring them into Carolina. Our next thing on the other side of the ball is what we need. We need an offensive line. That's been probably the single biggest problem behind coaching and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So another thing we need to do to get better at playoffs: draft offensive linemen. Don's got 4 big guys that he wants to talk about coming into this year's draft, and there's even more than that than those 4 guys. But here's the big 4.
Yeah.
I would say. What do you think here, Donnie? Some of the guys.
So I got 4 guys I like. I don't know if for those who've been watching us for a little bit, for our short amount of time, y'all know how vocal I've been about us going to get Evan Neal, the offensive lineman. He's actually left tackle for Alabama. It's going to be hard to find a player like that. They are coming at an abundance, it feels like, but this guy is different.
Yeah.
Penei Sewell, he'll be a Hall of Famer. I wish we got him last year. For those who don't know Penei Sewell, he's a left tackle for the Lions. Going to be a Hall of Fame player. Tremendous talent. And then this year we were blessed to see a few guys who can be a once in a generation kind of talent at their position. So first one's Evan Neal. I love the way he plays. He's a physical guy. He's taller. He's very strong. He's able to just play good against a bull rusher, a speed rusher, and he's just so physically imposing, especially in the run too. That's where a lot of offensive linemen like to play. Love to play that run. So just getting our franchise guy at left tackle would make things a lot easier for us, especially if we sign a veteran quarterback and wait until next year's draft. So just getting him, I think that would fix a lot of problems on the offensive line. Got to bring him in. I don't know if he'll fall to us. If not, it's okay. That's why I got 3 other guys I want to talk about. So Evan Neal, number 1, I highly encourage everyone who's into the draft talk, who's into Carolina Panthers, offseason changes, all that. Go take a look at Evan Neal, and let's pray that he falls to us. I hate that. I don't want to wish the downfall, on another man's money, but hey, if it's there, we got to take him. But I doubt it. But if so, thank God. So Evan Neal's 1. The next one is Charles Cross. Charles Cross plays. I think he plays. Hold on, I had a brain fart. I think he plays A&M, doesn't he?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Plays A&M. Sorry, it's been hectic for me. my brain is kind of splattered right now. But Charles Cross. I watched a little bit of film. There isn't too much for some reason. Independent, just a film that's solely focused on offensive linemen. It's a lot harder to come by, especially compared to quarterbacks, running backs, receivers. But Charles Cross is another one of those guys that come out and he shows that he's a physically imposing guy as well. He wins most of his blocks. He wins against pass rushes. He knows how to wear a defensive end down. And that's something we need. We need someone who is going to be a dog, who's going to come in for 4 quarters of football, not get tired of whooping up on you, not going to get tired of whatever you want to throw. You want to throw a stunt, you want to bring 2 in his specific blocking scheme, whatever. That's what we need. Charles Cross is another one of those guys that jump out that I think we should go get. And I'm going to say a lot of the same things about some of these guys because that's just who they are. These guys, all these guys that I'm naming are top 10, top 5 caliber picks. Yeah. And they're that for a reason. So Charles Cross, Evan Neal.
And we picked 6. So we could just miss out on all 4 guys.
Absolutely. Just depends on how everyone wants to draft. So a lot of people take risk each year. That's kind of what the Bengals did last year. They got But they didn't take a risk, but they got a receiver instead of offensive line, which has worked out for them. But anyway, and then that makes me transition to the offensive tackle for NC State. Man, kind of like how Anthony and I touched about, hometown guy. When NC State, that'd be so much more marketable. Just keeping him in North Carolina.
Yeah.
He actually won the most prestigious award for offensive lineman. I forgot what the award is called, but Panay Sewell won it, and this guy won it. His film speaks for itself. Like I said, I need to get back next episode and touch on the award that is, but only the highest of highest caliber offensive lineman get it. I think he got it over Evan Neal. So that's that's big time.
Yeah.
So like I said, another left tackle this guy is. That's been our problem since Jordan Gross retired. So he retired after 2013 season. So we're creeping up on almost 10 years of not assessing that position and not getting help over there. So I think anyone would agree. Of course, you need a franchise left tackle or a solid left tackle who can hold down that side, the blind side, for years to come. That just helps the quarterback play so much better. And I think that us getting him, hometown guy, you can't beat it. It's super marketable. His talent speaks for itself. Can do it all. Lastly, last one I want to touch on is Tyler Linderbaum. Now, this is a lot different because he is a center. Linderbaum is a center. However, he's one of those Iowa guys. There's something about Iowa football players who they just breed toughness. You see it with Kittle. You see it with all these tight ends. Iowa's always been a very and James Daniels also went to Iowa. This guy I talked about It seems like whatever they got in Iowa, they implement a very, very tough culture. They got a lot of grit. They play very, very physical football. George Kittle is almost like an offensive lineman. I mean, the way he blocks. I've seen that guy. I hate to even bring it up. I've seen him pancake Luke. Sadly. I don't know if you remember that play. I don't know if you remember that play.
I don't. Yeah.
But that just shows how physical those guys are. Yeah. And I've seen George Kittle. I've seen him move guys like Danielle Hunter. I don't know if you guys know who Danielle Hunter is. He's defensive end for the Minnesota Vikings. Stud, phenomenal ball player. I mean, Taylor Lewan told stories about watching tape on George Kittle. But anyway, what makes me optimistic in taking someone like that is because we know what we're getting as well. And that's at the center position, which is, to me, the second most, if not the most important position on the offensive line, because he's in a stitch into the quarterback, calling out protections, seeing, who's coming where.
The leader.
Communicating protections, absolutely.
Yeah.
A quarterback's best friend, basically, to me, I think so. They're talking to each other constantly. So if you watch Linderbaum, strong guy, super physical, physically imposing. I think he's 295. I'm sure teams are going to want him to boost up to the 300 range. No problem. But, even if you are 295, like Jason Kelce is. Exactly. It's like Jason Kelce is for the Eagles. 295, it doesn't matter. Jason Kelce's a 5-time Pro Bowler, all-pro caliber player, maybe even a Hall of Famer. Can move. As long as he can move, especially, run play wise, if he can move and get out in space and block, that's all that matters. So let's not get caught up in the whole he's not 300 pounds. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you're 295, you can hold your own. That's all I care about. Okay. But you're not getting bullied. And this guy won't get bullied. I don't think so. So those are 4 guys to me that are must gets.
Yeah, for sure. This is a different position, but hey, there was probably the greatest Panther of all time, arguably, was one of the smaller guys, 5'9", 185 pounds, Steve Smith, and he played the game big. So it doesn't always matter about. I get it. You want the behemoth, but if the skill's there, no matter what. So, absolutely. And sticking with the offense, hey, the guy calling the plays behind these offensive linemen, we're talking about we need to find an offensive coordinator, and that has happened. Have we officially hired him, or is it close in the talks?
I think they agreed to terms.
Okay.
I think they're working on that
contract's being worked out.
But he's basically the guy.
So
God forbid something happened. But go ahead, sir. I didn't want to.
As of January 23rd, it's 1:18 as of us recording this video. we have hired Ben McAdoo. That is our next offensive coordinator. Donnie, I know you got some thoughts here, man. Let us have it.
I want to look through it. I want to look through the situation in a positive manner. Um, so hard to because I mean this guy has he did some good things in the 2014 and 2015 season as an offense coordinator. I mean, the young Odell
For
Beckham
the New York
for
Giants.
the Giants. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
sorry, my
Yeah.
fault, guys. You guys don't know who Ben McAdoo is. He's had a lot of history with the Giants. He was their offensive coordinator through the 14 and 15 season. Ended up becoming their head coach for 2 seasons. Was shortly fired after that. He didn't take him to the playoffs 1 year as a head coach, but there's a lot of controversy behind this guy. Led to the Eli Manning benching. Fans didn't really like the way he handled that. A lot of controversy comes behind this guy. I've done my research on him as far as his philosophy. Might be bad news for Sam Darnold. This guy has a very, very, very short tolerance or very small tolerance for inconsistency at quarterback. So he and Matt Rule might be a little friction here because Matt Rule likes to stick with his guy,
Yep.
PJ Walker. Sam Darnold doesn't like to, criticize their play at all, whereas Ben McAdoo might chew him out, which is good. We don't need any more soft guys.
Yeah.
So and I want to say when he was their offensive coordinator for the Giants, and as a coach, he took them to the playoffs 1 year, but shortly got exposed a year after got fired. But with the Giants, he did transform the receiving core. Odell had a good year his rookie season. I think he ended up winning offensive rookie of the year. The year he made the whole one-handed catch with 3 fingers.
Yeah.
That's good and all, right? That's good and all. But here's where the problem is. I think this is a premature hiring. I don't think Matt Rule. I mean, we know he's probably panicking. He wants to play cool all he wants to. This is a panic. This is a panic
Yeah.
type rule.
Panic hire.
And it's definitely a panic move, a panic hire. And I think Matt Rule is kind of shaking right now because, I mean, you have Pep Hamilton from the Texans who's worked with Deshaun Watson, who's worked with Davis Mills, who's having a career year, and has worked with some other good guys. He actually declined the job, and he's a hometown guy.
Yeah.
He was born and raised in Charlotte.
Charlotte. Yeah.
The job doesn't look too appealing to him, which is something to keep an eye on. It's showing that our reputation as a football team may be taking a slight decline.
Yeah.
Which is why this move isn't liked by me. I don't want to speak for Anthony, but I don't think Anthony likes this move based on what we've researched, as well as the other hundreds of thousands of fans. This just shows that Matt Rule's panicking. I mean, yeah, bring in a veteran, play caller, but this guy, really? I mean, but here's my theory, Anthony. Ben McAdoo has proved to work well with some quarterbacks in his past, but this worries me a little bit because with him being our offense coordinator, because we don't know how long Rule's going to be here, that's not really our judgment. We may draft a quarterback this year.
Yeah.
It's a bold prediction, which has me a little upset because I just think there's too many veteran quarterbacks that we can take a risk with.
Yeah.
I mean, because what are we losing? We got to assess this offensive line. So
Yeah.
I'm praying we don't take that bait and go get a young quarterback quite yet because there's just two that are okay. I'm cool with, but we got with the amount of talent we got on this offensive line in the draft this year, the amount of offensive line talent in the draft, we got to go get one of those guys, especially in the first round. There's no more waiting. So what happened with Greg Little? Okay, we went to the second round. We took a risk on him. Boom. This guy was injured every single year with Carolina. He had 3 or 4 concussions within his first 2 seasons, which doesn't mean he's a bad player. But, I mean, you look at the track record, you do a lot of research on these guys coming out in the first round. We got to go get one of those guys, but I don't want to get off topic. But Ben McAdoo, he's known to be a guy that worked closely with quarterbacks. And I just think it is what it is at this point for me. I can yell, scream. You and I didn't like the move. But this just shows, like I was telling you yesterday, it just shows how desperate Matt Rule is. He's desperate to pick anybody because he wants to save his job. But what he's doing is he's shooting himself in the foot now because his fan base is growing even more angry and upset with him because we all know based off the track record. Because us fans aren't dumb. We do a lot of research on the guys we bring, especially if you're diehard like we are.
Yeah.
Matt Rule is just making very, very rookie mistakes, bringing in guys that have not been, especially with Jay Gruden. I mean, he's just panicking. You can tell he's panicking, right?
Yeah.
Instead of waiting it out. So that's something to keep an eye on because, and also another bold prediction: Phil Snow won't be the guy to take over if Matt Rule's fired. It'll be Ben McAdoo. Watch what I tell you. Put money on
Yeah.
it. Put money on
Yeah.
it.
I'm
So
sure of it.
I'm not sure what he wants to do with McAdoo. Makes me a little worried, just because this is a young football team and they don't need to lose their confidence anymore.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to have a leader in charge, but we got a guy making decisions based off fear. This is a fear based hire. He's scared,
Yeah.
and what he's going to do is he's going to doom this fan base. He's gonna kill the morale of this fan base. It's already been diminished significantly
Yes.
this season. So, but I want to let you touch on it. I'm sorry for taking up so much time.
Which we will touch on that more in videos to come. We have a lineup. That's crazy. Yeah, how much of it is on Rule? How much of it is on Tepper? We had that conversation on the phone before the show. Uh, when Tepper took over as owner, which I like the guy. Like I said, I've never seen an owner go around his city where he owns a pro football team and talk with the fans. And he came in with an attitude like, man, I want Carolina to be a winning city and a winning team. And no, I'm not moving them anywhere. What's the name of the team? The Carolina Panthers. They're staying right here in Charlotte. I love that attitude. He put the logo in the middle. We've been wanting that for years. The fans have been wanting the Panther logo in the middle. He took the NFL shield off, which
Yep.
I respect why Jerry Richardson had the shield. Jerry Richardson said he had the shield in the middle of the field because it's about the league and the league coming together, and that was nice. But yeah, this is your team, man. Let's let's make the fans happy.
Stay
So
proud of it. Yeah.
yeah, so he put the logo in the mirror in the middle. I wish he would paint the end zones black again. That I always love that, uh,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. But yeah, so we'll touch on Tepper and other videos, but back to the offense coordinator hire. Yeah, I guess at this point it's just a we'll see thing. It works out and it's great, but then again maybe it won't. So it's just a we'll see. If even the playoffs, if you would have told me it would have been the Bengals and it would have been down to the Bengals, Chiefs, and Bills this upcoming season, people would be like, really? Wow, so. Yeah, there's always surprises in the NFL. So this could be his redemption in Carolina. Maybe he's got the perfect recipe.
I
Maybe
hope,
he
man.
doesn't.
I hope.
So it doesn't look good, but we won't know until the end of next season. So
I want to touch on Tepper really quick, if you don't mind.
sure, go ahead.
I know we had the conversation earlier prior to going live. Uh, I blame some of this on Tepper, man. Like I told you on the phone, I'm done. I'm done putting it all on Rule. We want to talk about why fans are leaving early, why fans are selling their
Yeah,
season tickets, why fans are becoming just growingly upset with the way things are going. When you have a leader, the owner's supposed to be the ultimate leader. Okay,
yes,
when you have the ultimate leader, when you have the billionaire who has made a career off making risky moves, that's turned out to be great, but has also known when to cut ties. Why not cut ties now? You
yeah,
see that this fan base we've been a very loyal fan base. We love our players, and as of recent, I mean, what is there to be excited about? I mean, come on, Rule, come on, Tepper, especially you, Tepper. I mean, he's not going to see this, but if this ever gets out, I want Tepper to hear it because ever since he's took over, the morale of this fan base has just been up and down and up and down
yeah.
because there hasn't been any consistency of what he's preached.
It's
So,
true.
with that being said, Tepper, please, for the love of God, man, stand on your 2 feet. Admit that you're wrong about Matt Rule right now. He's
Mm,
he's he's made premature hirings. He's played buddy ball. He plays favorites. I mean, and he's talking about leaving to go to Michigan. I mean, what more do you need to see? I mean,
yeah,
it hasn't been proven yet, but I mean, this guy's even brought up to the players that he can get more money playing or coaching college ball. I mean, what more do you have to see? So, with that being said, Tepper deserves a lot of his blame because he has failed us so far with not being able to bring in the right coaching staff uh, and not to come out and make a statement about addressing where the fan base is, where we should be, and to give us a little bit of optimism. So,
yeah.
shame on Tepper, man. Shame on Tepper. Now, Mr. Richardson, all the things he said did was wrong. But I will say, as owner, we were a very good football team. Now, like I
Yeah.
said, all the things coming out about what he said is absolutely wrong. And I'm not justifying anything. I'm just saying, as an owner, and as far as winning and as a football team went, the morale of the fan base was thriving under him, right? But at the same time, like I said about Tepper, I just want better. I want him to, these hirings, these signings, the egotistic stuff from the coaching and so on, it just made me a little disgusted with the way things are going. And
Yeah.
I do think I'll say this, and I'm going to leave it alone. I don't think it's fair for Scott Fitter, because Matt Rule wasn't, he wasn't Dave. He wasn't Scott Fitter's guy.
Yeah.
Matt Rule was not Scott Fitter's guy. Matt Rule was hired prior to Scott Fitterer being the GM. He was hired under Marty Herney, who has been fired twice now by the organization. I mean,
Yep.
he's brought a lot of good pieces in, but I mean, it's not fair. It's not fair for Scott Fitterer because he's getting a lot of criticism. Yes, he's the GM, but how much power does Scott Fitterer have? This
Yeah.
isn't his guy, and people who have football common sense and knowledge know that the more we lose, the more Fitterer's on the hot seat as well, and it's not fair to him at all because the things he's being judged on are a lot of Matt Rule's decisions. Which again, Matt Rule is not his guy, so don't blame Scott Fitterer. Now, Scott Fitter does have a very big, very, very big priority this offseason to address a lot of these positions.
Yeah.
Very, very big priority. So
Yeah.
that
He
being
said he can
said,
do it once, and can he do it twice? Yeah. So
absolutely. So
I think so.
disappointed in Tepper, and I think he needs to come out and make a statement soon to address
Yeah.
the fan base and to
Yeah.
give us hope, man. This is
Yeah.
all assumptions based off what we're seeing. Sorry, I had to get that out, y'all. I had to get that out. I'm a little upset, man.
Yeah. He
The
definitely
Bengals
needs to
have
come
had
out
a
and
quick
talk.
turnaround. Yeah, the Bengals have had a quick turnaround. I mean, Joe Burrow didn't even play a full season last year. He tore his ACL. Look at him. They're in the playoffs. Let's go. Let's make good decisions. Stop
Yeah.
playing buddy ball, and let's get this thing rolling.
Yeah.
Be a man and admit that you're wrong. Okay?
Yeah.
Point blank period. We would still love you. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's my little vent session. So
Yeah. Contrary to belief, man, we're close to turning around, and we're
we
I don't
are.
know, we are one coaching staff away from being pretty good football team.
That's a
Offensive line
fact.
needs work, but quarterback probably needs to be figured out. I think quarterback play will improve with an offensive line, or quarterback and offensive line, big things, but the receivers are there. The running back is there for sure. The defense, number 2 overall defense in the league, um, um, and there's just a lot that Tepper needs to come out and admit that he's wrong and search
Just give us some
for better
assurance.
out there. Yeah, some assurance
Yeah.
and that he's still behind us and he's trying his best as well. At least with Jerry Richardson, that's what I was gonna say earlier. At least with Jerry Richardson, he between Jake Delhomme and Cam, we had a lot of quarterbacks between time, but he kept trying. Well, nope, you don't work
It was
out
a
of here.
smooth
What about you?
transition. It was a
Yes,
smooth transition. Yeah.
yeah, and it didn't take too
And I,
long.
and I, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let you be. I'm going to let you ride, as Cam's dad said. And I'm sorry. There's so much to get off my chest.
Yes.
Secondly, Anthony, how many times was the number 2 overall defense not made the playoffs?
Do you know that stat?
I don't, but I just,
Oh.
but I mean, but I'm just saying it can't.
It can be a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
It can't be a lot. It just can't.
Yeah. That's true.
So
Yeah. Yeah. How many? Yeah. That's a good stat to probably
I'm gonna look it up, but I just
look up
thought about
for.
that.
Yeah, that's true. Not having a great defense and which there was. I thought there was. No, we did make the playoffs. Wasn't there a year we had a pretty good defense? We're like at the top, and we ended up making it.
We were, yeah. So we made. I think that was a 7-8 in one year where we had one of the worst records, and we made the playoffs, but our defense was playing solid. Offense just wasn't clicking. That 14 season, you talking about that season?
Yeah.
We went to Seattle and we lost.
But we still ended up making the playoffs. So yeah, that speaks
volumes.
Yeah.
That was that year. Yeah.
Yeah, I got back and forth with someone on Twitter about that.
Man.
They were talking about how we're the number 2 defensive. They were still blaming the defense, and I said we were number 2 defense in the league, and they're like, yeah, but we gave up 40-some points a game or something. And it's like, yeah, well, they're on the field, over 50% of the time, and 3 and outs, and they got to go right back out there, and you lose hope after a while if your offense isn't helping you out and scoring, and just kind of like, God, I didn't even get to drink my water any. Let me go back out there and save you again.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
absolutely. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you think about it. We're not that far off. We're
yeah,
not that far off.
we're not. We're really
We
not.
have the number 2 ranked defense, and we can't even stop the run. Just imagine what happens when we get 1 or 2 pieces to help stop the run.
That's true.
And that's without getting a quarterback and offensive line yet.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
we're maybe 2.
Did you see that? Something as a
Nah.
spirit flying behind me. I have to go back and look at that. That was kind of weird. Hang on.
But yeah, so we're like 1 or 2 moves away on the defensive side of the ball, and then I mean maybe like you said, a coaching staff change away or a quarterback and a few offensive linemen away from it can
Yeah.
happen. We're a lot closer to what I may even think and what you may think.
Yeah.
I mean, so but
That's true.
that's all I gotta say.
We did go what 1-15, 2-14, and within that next
2-15,
season,
yep.
we went to the Super Bowl under John Fox. So he turned the league's worst defense into the second
Yes.
best the very next year.
Starts with a leader.
Yes, yeah, and John Fox was that. And then that carried on to the next regime. Once we got rid of John Fox and came Revere, and he started his thing.
Yep.
Matt Rule has not turned it around, man. It's because for a while Carolina has been, people eyes have been on Carolina because it's like, man, you guys are serious down there in the South, aren't you? Under Fox, under Rivera, basically since 2003. But now here it is, 2021, 2022 season.
4 straight losing seasons.
Yeah. So, and the first ever under Ron Rivera, 3 straight NFC South champions. And never had happened in that conference before, but under Rivera it did. And I understand that third one was like, kind of weird because everybody's playing. Hey, it's not our fault. We won it, and that's the end of it. So, but yeah, man, the culture has changed. We need to get it back. We need to get the culture back, and we need to get back to the playoffs, and that's what we talked about today. So, hey, I think that's it for us, man. Those are the 4 main things we need to do to get back to the playoffs, like I said. Always follow us on Facebook, YouTube, The Donnie Anthony Show, Instagram, and Twitter. We're on both of those at Don Ant Show. You see it at the bottom of your screen. Follow us, but most importantly, like I always say, my friend, keep pounding, man.
Keep pounding, man.
Hey, we'll see y'all again. We'll pick it all back up. You'll see us go live in a new video next week. Hey, stay tuned right here to the Donnie and Anthony Show.
And thank you for all the love and support that you guys have given us and that you continue to show us. And I'm a lot of the reason why we haven't been pumping out content lately. I apologize. I'm getting acclimated. God is taking care of me. He's taking care of us. So with that being said, thank you for all the love and support. We hope that you keep loving, supporting, keep pounding. God bless. God up top.
Yes, sir.